Good morning. This is Norma Cowie with our first Norma Talks for 2023. I hope you had a really good new Christmas and New Year time. I really trust that everything flowed really well. Our weather here where I am was being very cold and snowy, and it's still hovering around zero, sometimes above, sometimes below. A little bit of snow here and there. Ice. I noticed when I looked out my window this morning that some of the ice had melted a little bit, and that's great, great news. But when I look, it's not until maybe towards the end of the week that the temperatures begin to come out of the 0 to 1 place, which is nice to know. Well, being the first Wednesday, I do have a reading put out for January, which I will get to, but I also just wanted to talk about goal setting and how important it is that when you make a goal, that you decide that it's going to be. Because very often we just think, oh, I would really like this, I would really like that, but we don't decide what we're going to do, because when we decide, the most important thing is what the first step is. I spoke a little bit about that on Sunday. But I just wanted to reiterate it a little bit. I made a couple of notes here is often we have to change our belief structures to create what we want. And most decisions about life and self are done before 2.5 years old. Can you believe that? I know I've talked about that several times, but it's really important sometimes to remember. I actually dug out a book I wrote way back published in 1993 called Secrets for Living Happily. And I started reading it and I went, oh, sometimes it's really good to go back and read what you actually wrote. I know I send it out to a lot of my clients, and in the sense that I don't sort of mail books anymore, but we send it out on a PDF and you can download it. So if anyone would like that you're welcome to that. And thinking is really, really often what we do, but we think thoughts of not what we want. So we always want to have our thinking in relation to what we specifically want and where we want to go. And again, my clients are my transformation clients, I should mention, not my reading clients so much, but to identify the thoughts. And I often, it was actually reminded me when I was just checking through, I just part on decisions this morning in my book. It says, it starts off, you create on the outside what is on the inside. We forget that what you're thinking is your vibrational rate. And in that vibrational rate, if you want to change it, you have to first of all, change your thinking. Often, yes, emotions have a part of it, but it's like the thinking inspires the feeling. And so it's, again, thought is really, really number one and important. So it's important to identify your thoughts and observe them. And I always have a little FER, which means freeze the thought, evaporate the thought, and replace the thought with what you want. So it begins to change the energy. And remember, we create by the energetics, by who we are and what we are and where we're going. And so I just wanted to touch on to that. As New Year's Day, you make your resolutions, and we want to make sure that you create in a way that you create the best you can. Are we perfect? No. I wish sometimes, but it's part of the learning process and part of recognizing what I call habits, or the weeds of the subconscious. The weeds of the subconscious have a tendency to sort of be quiet for a while and then out they come again. So we do need to be vigilant on our thinking process and not just react to things every which way. I sometimes find myself, as I'm just a person, to reacting to something and go, hold on a minute. How come I'm putting all my power there? That's not what I want. So coming back. But that's how we do if we observe. If we observe our thinking, if we observe our reactions, then we can make decisions about how we want to be and work to that direction. So now, do you want to see this reading? I've been away. It seems like it was only maybe 2 weeks away, but I feel like I'm all brand new here. So here's my share screen. So just persevere with me just for a second while I get this one up. I don't want that little one there. Go away. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to just bring it out a little bit so we can see it all. Now, remember, this is what we call the inverted pyramid reading. And when I looked at this, I went, oh, this looks like a very up and down month for sure. A lot of emotional cards. But let's take a read through it and see. It looks like in the beginning, we're already at the 4th today. So I just feel these first 5 days, in lots of ways, there's decisions to be made. It is an emotional card. And it is often has to do with your spiritual elements, about you choosing. It has to do with choice. What are you choosing to do? And are you choosing to go deeper into your spiritual studies? But we're looking at the basic question of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, what is happening in this month? And so we start off with a lot of emotionality. Like, it might feel good, it seems good, but what's hidden? This has a lot to do with what's hidden, what we don't recognize, and what's happening in behind. And then it says, I think as we go from the 5th, which is even tomorrow, 5th and 6th, towards the 10th, is that we begin to realize what we need to let go of. These are emotions. This is value, what you value. You know, we're being taught a lot of things and we come to value certain things, but we're in a very changeable time where very often a lot of people have been in fear about this and that and the other. In fact, I read something today that was coming through the news that really distressed me. And I went, oh, what am I going to do with that? Sometimes we have to accept those things, but mostly it's about being aware of things. And so we've had a lot of fear delivered to us. And so to me, this here, as I said, up to around the 10th, is that a lot of people are turning away from the fear. They're turning out into the unknown, not sure where that's going to take them, but they know they don't want that. And I just read that Djokovic is not going to be able to come back into the US to play because of his choice that he made. And I probably not supposed to say these anymore, but I thought we had a choice. I thought it was decided that there was a choice. It's been proven now that the does not stop people being, it doesn't stop. Anyway, what they said was true, what is not true. And so I really see a lot of people turning away from here. And coming from the 12th to around the 10th, to around 15th, 17th, even there's another 5-day stretch. It's like a pulling in and consolidating oneself of what they want and what they believe. And I think rather than maybe the influence of being all out there is coming back into the internal, coming back into like, I am the beginning of my world. I am the beginning of my world is how I construct it and how I deal with it and what is happening and where I'm going. It's when we go it all gets blurry from around the 17th, 18th, especially around the 20th. Up till then, there is this feeling of being in command, a bit of a quiet, you know, the old saying, quiet before the storm. The quiet before the storm, the feeling back, oh, okay, I've let that go. I'm controlled. Everything is calm. Everything is easy. And then when we get to about the 23rd, and I feel like, how am I at the 23rd and I'm still in the top row? But that's what it seems. It's like the past comes back. So what we're going to get is a lot from the past fears, past dictates, past awarenesses. And it's kind of like, oh my goodness, what are we doing with this? Because everything begins to crash and burn. Everything, it's like life comes along, and maybe a lot of freedoms that we thought, oh, good, we have back, gone. Maybe it is just a matter of new ideas coming in that are disturbing everything. But I really feel here the important thing always when there is an unexpected blow in the life is to let go of the old and embrace the new. Now, it doesn't mean embracing what's said. It's about not being tied in and going, oh, I have no power, because that's what I'm seeing coming up. It's very important to let go and then go, okay, what have I got and what do I need to do? So it's a part of that is assuming responsibility, because in this time in here, what we've got is like an ending of a process, an ending of what we thought was into a whole sense of what it isn't. And that ties us up. And that takes us right through in the 20s up towards the end of the month. I just don't think it's going to be an easy emotional time at all. Trust I'm wrong. Trust that there is something else here. But it's like the ending of an old and not sure what to do, and a lot of emotional. And again, to me, that's fear that has been generated and created and brought about in so many ways. And even as we come on to the end of the month, and it'll be interesting to see what February brings, is because this is all imagination. This is all emotion. Everything is like we don't know what's up or down. And it's like we as a people, and this is red for North America, So that's Canada, the US in particular. But it's like, I almost like I'm almost speechless with this because of the emotionality that's in here. So let's have a look at it a little different, a different way. We got decisions to make because of some events that will occur, and we need to have our feet on the ground. We need to know specifically what is happening, what's going on, where it is all directing. On this side here, as it comes down, it says the past is there. It's rediscussed, but it hampers. It locks us in our emotions. It locks us into fear. It locks us, and locks meaning might have an accent, an LOCKS, locked. We get locked into how we think or be or react. And that also too, then our imaginations go crazy. So we feel like, oh my goodness, what's this? Instead of going, okay, how do we handle this? How do we create a difference? What do we do to be different? And the answer, I think, is here in this world symbol, where we have everything balanced and aware and knowing the direction of where we wanting to go, because it is newness. And it can be newness, but we have a little way to go. And that's because the devil sits right beside it. But it's like, and remember, the devil is your emotions are in control. Excuse me. Yeah, that's it. I'm coughing that up, I'll tell you. And so consequently, what we have here is the imagination. The imagination is when we're not it's not based on reality. It's based on our fears. And this devil symbol here represents the fears if we're reading it in a sort of linear way. But it also says, do not let your imagination go, because you're going to have a lull up here where everything seems fine. But then all sorts of things happen. I'm just praying not some of the things that I would not like to see happen is what it represents, which means getting back into certain mandates where we're able to sort of let go of a bit. But it really is an emotional time. Key is know what you're wanting. I'm just going to stop the share here and get back there to me. Now, let's take a look at how we handle things when they don't really work. One of the things with the thoughts is, and I possibly have mentioned this already, that I call it like if freeze the thought, evaporate it, and replace it. When you have a thought, something comes in and you may not even be aware, but you have an emotional response. It's like grabbing the thought that bothered you, grabbing it and then looking at it and saying, do you want to support that or do you not? For your own well-being. Because again, I want to say, you create on the outside what is on the inside. I spent a lot of years working on getting my insides working in an effective way so that I could handle things. When I look at the reading that I put out today, we have two very strong emotional symbols. We have three value symbols, which has a lot of emotion around them as well. But we also have unexpected coming from the outside that throws everything into a topsy-turvy, and where we think everything is nice and going along and feeling really good, and then it kind of goes out the window. This is going to be an interesting month. Sometimes when I have done these readings, I think, oh my goodness, what's going on? And I find that that's been perfectly accurate. Other times things have changed. We have the ability as a race, as a human race, based on our thought alone, to change things. If we just go along just with whatever and maybe have our own personal reactions, then we don't really change anything. We can change how we respond to it, yes, for sure. But as a humanity has done this time and time again when they kind of say, no, that's enough, stop. And it's that collective thought patterning, which is very, very important. And when I look at this, as I said, I'll be interested in next month, because I want to see as I watch. I don't really watch a lot of news stuff because I find it depressing, to be honest. But it's like you still get it one way or another. But I'm interested to see what exactly is going to be happening here, because it feels like we get lulled a little bit, and then, man, it's something slams us. It's the slamming that worries me a bit for us as a humanity, as for freedom. I do believe in freedom, and that you have the freedom of choice and the freedom of movement and many other things. And that's because I've been around a long time now, and I had that. It wasn't that I was raised with not having that. And so consequently, I just trust that in this January, the beginning of the year, and a lot of us are having very cold weather and very unusual things happening. And so it's just a matter, I want to say, remember, you are in command of you, of your thoughts, your feelings. How my book that I showed you the cover of, Secrets for Living Happily, is that no matter what occurs and what happens, you have and can be happy inside. You can, sometimes you have to dig for it, but it's there. And it's about raising that within inside yourself, because when you're contented, when you're happy within, that filtrates outside to your friends, to your family, to the world. And if we have more people really working on their inner happiness and their inner peace, I think it makes a difference and it makes a change. Well, that's kind of an interesting big opening for 2023. And I trust all is well with each one of you. And I trust that you will find a happy month and a glorious month. And no matter what occurs, that you find your center. There I go again, and able to move forward. So bless you, enjoy, and we will, bye. I should give some thanks here, because I'll be back on Sunday, but also on Monday for mental mind treatments. I really had a lot of new people come in on Monday night, so I was quite busy with different sections of prayer work and healing work and understanding. And I just want to thank everybody that is supporting that. I also want to thank all those that have subscribed. And remember to do that. If you are a frequent visitor to any one of the 3 shows that I do a week, just subscribe. And then you'll be, especially if you press the bell, because then you'll know, yeah, she's back on again. Some I do live, some like this one, I record, because I haven't learned how to share on live yet. So there's still lots of learning curves I'm going through on this technology element. Because remember, I didn't have any of these things when I was learning and growing many years ago. You take care, enjoy, and I'll see you on Sunday. Bye now.